Welcome to another crochet tutorial with Cozy Rosie UK. Today I'm going to be showing you how you can make the zigzag lozenge stitch. It features a 3 double crochet cluster stitch in the US terms, along with a half double crochet too. So we're going to work together to create this stitch, but it has been already featured in one of my latest crochet patterns, which is the Ides of March purse. And it features a little frame that you sew your crochet onto as well. So before we get started, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and of course hit the notification bell so that you never miss out on another one of my crochet tutorials again. The materials that you're going to be needing is any yarn in 3 different colours. I have some PaintBox Yarns Simply Aran this time, so I'm using a 5mm crochet hook. That's the size of hook recommended for the yarn. So whatever yarn you're using, go ahead and find the corresponding hook size on the ball band. So for instance, you'll see here that it says a crochet hook is on that side, so 5mm. I have used this wool already in another pattern, so this is why we have a bit less than a full ball there. So the zigzag lozenge stitch is made with a chain of multiples of 2 stitches plus an extra stitch, and then if you're starting working straight into your foundation chain, which we are going to today, we need to add an extra stitch on too. So any multiple of 2 plus 1, and then you need to add an extra 1 on for your foundation chain too. So I'm going to start by placing a slip knot onto my crochet hook. I hope you can't hear my washing machine in the background. Sorry about that. And we're simply going to start, so let's say a multiple of 2, let's go for the number of 10. So we're going to do 10 plus an extra stitch, so that makes 11 plus 1 extra stitch for the turning chain in our foundation chain. So we're going to chain a total of 12. So we simply just chain 12. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. So working into our foundation chain, for row 1, we're going to work into the second chain from hook, and into that chain we are going to place a half treble or a half double crochet in US terms. I'm going to try and stick to US terms in this one, but I will give you UK equivalents as well. So there's our first chain. We're going to work by yarning over and inserting our hook. Going to yarn over to bring a loop up, yarn over, pull through all 3 to complete that half double crochet, half treble crochet in UK terms. Into the next stitch, we're going to work a half treble or a half double crochet. We're going to chain 1 and then work another half double crochet into that same stitch. So there we have a half treble or a half double, our chain 1, and another half double all in the same stitch. We're then going to skip the next stitch, and we're going to continue to work all the way across the row, placing a half double crochet, a chain 1, and a half double crochet, and skipping the next stitch. So we yarn over, skip that stitch, working into the next one, we place a half double, chain 1, working into the same stitch again, we yarn over to work another half double crochet. We're going to repeat that, skip 1, working into that next chain, work a half double crochet, chain 1, yarn over, working into the same stitch again, place another half double crochet, skip the next chain, working into the next one, placing another half double crochet, chain 1, in the same stitch again, place another half double crochet. We're going to skip that next chain, working into the second from last chain now, half double crochet, chain 1, half double crochet, and then into that final stitch of the row, we're just going to place a half double crochet. So at the end of row 1, it should look a little bit like that. So we're going to change colour in every row of this crochet pattern. So I'm going to change over to my pistachio here. If I find the end. Oh, I'm going to tangle before we even start. Move that over there. There we go. So I'm just going to simply pull the new yarn through the loop and tighten there. And then with my working yarn, I'm going to make my turning chain. So the turning chain for this row is a chain 2. And then we turn. Working into the first stitch underneath the chain, we're going to place a 2 double crochet cluster, which means that we're going to work 2 double crochets into the same stitch effectively. So to do that, we insert the hook, yarn over. We've got 3 loops on our hook, yarn over, pull through that first stitch, and then we stop there and work the second stitch. So we yarn over, insert the hook, yarn over. We've got now 4 loops on our hook. We're going to yarn over and pull through 2, yarn over and pull through all 3 loops on our hook. So effectively we've worked a double crochet 2 together, but it's called a cluster stitch because it's worked into the same stitch. So we're then going to chain 1. For the rest of the row to the last stitch, we are going to place 3 double crochet clusters in between the 2 half double crochets we made in the previous round. So into that chain space. We have to be careful because that looks like a lovely space to work in, but we're not working in there. We're looking for in between the 2 half double crochets. So our next one, you can see that there's our chain that we worked into and we've got 2 stitches in that. We're going to work in between there and we're going to place a 3 double crochet cluster. So just like we did with the 2 double crochet cluster, we're going to effectively do a 3 double crochet decrease, but all in the same stitch, and that creates a cluster stitch. So we yarn over the hook, insert the hook into that chain space in between the 2 half double crochets that we worked in the previous row. We yarn over, bring a loop up, so we have 3 loops on our hook, yarn over, pull through the first 2 loops, yarn over the hook, reinsert your hook into that same space again, yarn over, bring a loop up, 4 loops on our hook, yarn over, pull through the first 2 loops, yarn over, insert into the same space again, yarn over, bring up a 5th loop. We're going to yarn over, pull through those first 2 loops, and we should have 4 loops left on our hook ready to complete this stitch. We yarn over and pull through all 4 loops, and that creates our cluster stitch. We then chain 1, and that takes us across that space that we want to work into, but we're not going to. We're going to work in between these 2 half trebles into that chain space. So we've got a half double crochet, a chain 1, and a half double crochet that we worked on the previous round. We're going to work in between those. So we're going to place another 3 double crochet cluster. So we insert the hook into that chain space, yarn over, bring a loop up, yarn over, pull through 2. That's number 1. We're going to reinsert our hook after yarning over, bring a loop up, 4 loops on our hook, yarn over, pull through those first 2 loops, and this is the 3rd double crochet in this cluster. So we yarn over, insert the hook, yarn over, bring that loop up. We've now got 5 loops on. We're just going to pull through the first 2 loops to leave us with those 4 loops on our hook, yarn over, pull through all 4 loops on your hook, chain 1. It's a really nice cluster stitch. I really like it. There's a lot of texture in there, lots of layers, which is lovely. So we chained 1, and we're looking for that next space to work into. Ignore that beautiful big space. We're going to work in between those 2 and place another 3 double crochet cluster. So yarn over, insert your hook in between those 2 half trebles in the same stitch into that chain space, yarn over, bring that loop up, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, reinsert the hook into the same stitch, bring a 4th loop up, yarn over, pull through 2. Yarn over for the third crochet, three double crochet cluster. Got 5 loops, yarn over, pull through 2, 4 loops left on our hook. We're going to yarn over and pull through all 4 loops on our hook. Chain 1. So we're going to repeat that all the way down to our last, to that half treble we made at the beginning of the row. Just make sure that we're working in between those 2 half doubles from the previous row, placing a 3 double crochet cluster into each of these chain spaces along, followed by a chain 1, all the way to that last stitch where we're going to place a 2 double crochet cluster. So just need to make sure that we're doing this right. So remember, we had that little turning chain before, so that's not a chain space because we've worked in between those 2 half trebles. We are going to work into the top of our chain here, right at the end, just by placing a half double crochet in, a 2 treble crochet cluster. So let's do that again, So we yarn over, insert the hook into that last stitch, yarn over, bring our loop up, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, insert the hook again into that same stitch, yarn over, bring our 4th loop up, yarn over, pull through 2. We should have 3 loops remaining on our hook for the I keep saying UK terms. The 2 double crochet cluster, yarn over, pull through all 3 loops. So this is at the end of row 2. You'll have the equivalent from our turning chain and our 2 double crochet cluster at this end, a matching one at the other end, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 clusters across the middle. So again, at the end of row 2, we're going to change to our 3rd colour, which in this case is going to be, I think this is Tea Rose, which is incredibly popular and always sells out. We're just going to pop that over and slip stitch it through to change colours. I'm going to pull gently down on that colour there and move that out of the way. So our turning chain for row 3 is simply a chain 1. So in this row, we're going to place a half double crochet into that first stitch right underneath, so on the top of that 2 double crochet cluster, and then we are going to then work into that first chain space. So we yarn over and insert our hook into that first stitch right underneath that chain 1. We're going to yarn over to bring a loop up, yarn over, pull through all 3 loops. For the remaining chain spaces across this row, we are going to place a half double crochet, a chain 1, and a half double crochet. So we yarn over the hook, insert into that chain space in between, yarn over, bring a loop up, yarn over to pull through all 3 to complete that half double crochet, chain 1, and then work into that same chain space again, placing a further half double crochet. We're going to repeat that into the next chain space. So work 1 half double crochet, chain 1, another half double crochet into that same chain space. My yarn's going to attack me. Come back. There we go. We work the same into the next one. So yarn over, half double, chain 1, yarn over, half double, all into that same chain space, and work that all the way around, all along, I've got 2 chains there. No. To that last chain space, and I will meet you at the end of this row. Don't forget that last chain space to work into, And then when we reach the end of this row, we're going to work into the top of the 2 double crochet cluster that we made. So if you turn it over, you'll see you've got a stitch right at the top that you're going to work into, and we simply place one half double crochet into the top of there. So you've got a single at the start, a single at the end, and the half double, chain 1, half double, chain 1 in between. Oh no, sorry, half double, chain 1, half double, etc. all the way along. We're going to change colours again. So I'm going to just quickly snip this off, just so I can, without having to carry my work up. It's not quite wide enough for me to, or short enough, should I say. So just change colours back to colour number 1. And then going into row 4, we're going to chain 2. And we're going to work underneath that chain space into the top of that half double, sorry, from the last. So we're going to yarn over and work 1 treble crochet into that one double crochet into that first stitch. Maybe I should stick to UK terms. And then we are going to chain 1. And we're going to work into these chain spaces again in between, not this lovely big space, but in between those half treble crochets. We are going to place the 3 double crochet clusters. So we yarn over to insert the hook, yarn over, bring a loop up, pull through those first 2, yarn over, excuse me, reinsert the hook, 4 loops, yarn over, pull through the first 2. For that third cluster, I'm going to yarn over, reinsert, yarn over, bring a loop up, yarn over, pull through those first 2 loops, then yarn over and pull through all 4 loops on your hook to create that lovely 3 double crochet cluster. Chain 1 and repeat that all the way along, working in between those 2 half treble crochets. So place a 3 double crochet cluster into each of the chain spaces in between those half double crochets. I'm just working my last 3 double crochet cluster into the end of row 4. I'm fast running out of yarn. There we go. I'm going to place my last stitch is going to be worked into the top of this stitch here. So that's the first half double made in the previous row. We're going to chain 1 to move across, and we're just going to work 1 treble crochet into this last space. So this is where the rows differ slightly. So it's a double crochet into that last stitch. So at the start here, we had a chain 2 and 1 treble crochet, and at the end we have our 1 double crochet at the end, 1 double, and our 3 double crochet clusters all along. The previous time we did this 3 double crochet cluster, we had a 2 double crochet cluster at each end. So this is why it's a 5 row repeat over 3 colours. So we're going to just change colours one final time. I'm just going to cheat and bring my yarn up there. There we go, and just pull gently down without tightening it. So we're going into row 5. It's going to be our half treble row again, but it's slightly different than the time before. So chain 1 to turn, and we are going to work 2 half treble crochets into the same stitch to begin this row. So we yarn over, insert our hook, yarn over, bring a loop up, yarn over to pull through all three. We're going to work another half treble crochet into that same stitch. We're going to ignore this chain space. We're going to work into this chain space here, and we're going to work half treble crochet, chain one, half treble crochet. So working those two half treble crochets into that first stitch underneath the chain one prevents a really large hole opening up in our fabric. So continue across the row working a half double crochet, a chain one and a half double crochet, all into the same chain space in between those clusters that we made on the previous row. So as I work along this row here, I can let you know that the written tutorial and the written pattern for this beautiful stitch pattern, you'll find it over on my blog, so you can follow along between the different rows there as well. If you'd like to treat yourself and make one of my wonderful Ide of March purses, you'll find the link to that pattern as well over on the blog. It's all down in the description box for you. So at the end of row 5, we're going to match the end of this row by placing in the top of this last stitch here 2 half treble crochets. So we have row 1 where we placed a half treble, and then we worked into the next stitch working half double, chain 1, half double, skipped 1 stitch, half double, chain 1, half double, all the way across, ending on a half double crochet in the last stitch. For row 2, we did a chain 2 to turn, and then we placed a 2 double crochet cluster into the first, and then we chained 1, skipped the space, and then we worked in between those 2 half double crochets, placing a 3 double crochet cluster, chain 1, working in between, placing a 3 double crochet cluster all the way along, finishing on a 2 double crochet cluster. It actually makes more sense when you see it written down, believe it or not. It's one of those stitches that really does look better when it's written down. So with this, I would encourage you to pick 3 of your favourite colours. And you can, of course, do many things with this stitch as well. I really hope you found that tutorial useful to help you complete this zigzag lozenge stitch. And of course, if you would like to treat yourself and create one of these beautiful Ide of March purses, you'll find the full pattern available over on my blog to purchase. Thank you so much for joining me today. I hope you've enjoyed this tutorial. Don't forget to give it a thumbs up, and of course hit that subscribe button and the notification bell to be made aware as soon as another crochet tutorial becomes available.